Here is part 2 of our in-depth tutorial on how to make Nigerian puff puff, while I'm also answering your question. This part is all about the batter.
Because if your batter is wrong, your puff puff will never come out right, no matter how well you fry it.
So let's start with the most important thing, the measurement. I would be giving you both in grams and in cups, and I'll put the full measurements in the caption. This measurement made me exactly 48 pieces of puff puff. I'm starting by adding 4 cups of all-purpose flour to a deep bowl. And one common mistake people do here is adding your flour randomly, because it's how you end up with hard, chewy puff puff, and we do not want that. Always level your flour, because that can either make or break your puff puff. Now, I know there are a lot of controversies online about adding baking powder to your puff puff, and I completely understand why. Traditionally, puff puff is made with yeast alone, but baking powder, when used correctly, helps with texture. And all you need is very little. Let's talk about the taste. If your puff puff has ever come out sour, or you can actually taste the yeast after, it's usually because the batter over fermented. You probably added too much yeast. See, and when making puff puff, balance is key. It looks like a lot, but when you subsequently do this, you get used to it genuinely. If you're adding yeast to your batter, you always add salt, because salt balances the sweetness and controls the fermentation. Skipping it would make your puff puff taste flat or sour, so please do not skip salt. You see all those fine brown puff puff you see online is because of your sugar. The taste and the color of your puff puff depends on your sugar. I used 4 cups of flour and half a cup of sugar. Puff coming out brown too fast, soaking up oil, and it's still raw inside because of the sugar. Now let's get to the part that is most interesting, your batter consistency. To mix your batter, you need water. You can add milk if you are feeling a little too fancy, but eggs should not go into your puff puff batter, because that's disgusting as hell. Now you need warm water, you don't need hot water. Hot water is going to kill your yeast. Your yeast is alive, we don't want to kill it. Okay, you're going to add gradually, and while mixing, you're going to add your vanilla extract. At this point, I don't use nutmeg in my puff puff. I substitute with vanilla instead, and it gives the best taste. Trust me. Your batter should be thicker than pancake batter, but looser than a dough. So when you scoop it, it should fall slowly, not run like water, and it should not sit stiff in the bowl. Okay, if your batter is too running, your puff puff will spread and soak up oil like mad. It will come out flat, and then it's gonna be so crunchy as well. And if it's too thick, your puff puff is gonna be so dense and hard inside. You need to take your time with this process. If your batter is too thick, you just need to add more water, and if it's too runny, you add more flour. You're going to beat your puff puff like your life depends on it. I beat my puff puff properly, because your early beating is going to help smooth up the batter and distribute the yeast properly. You see how the batter falls slowly from my hand? That's the texture you should have. Now we let the puff puff rise. Fermentation process should not take more than 2 hours. After an hour or 2, your batter should look like this. You don't need to beat the batter again, you just need to mix slowly. The air should still be there, and now you're ready to fry. I'll see you guys in the next part where we get to fry. And I'll teach you how to properly fry your puff puff.